Happy Multi-Chrome Monday. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 single shimmer eyeshadows that I recommend for winter, and this is a collab with my dear friend Riley, aka Seeking Shifts, and she's also going to be recommending 10 winter eyeshadows for you from her collection. I will be linking her Instagram and her video and her channel in the description box. Make sure to check that video out right after this one. And if you're not following her, what are you even doing with your life? She does such detailed reviews on eyeshadow palettes and single eyeshadows. She also does swatch comparisons, and yes, this is a Seeking Shifts stan account. So let's get into the 10 shadows that I chose, and these are in no particular order. First up, I have Blue Lagoon. This is from Moxy, and I think this is just a perfect duochromatic dimensional kind of bright blue for winter, kind of representing snow and just cold vibe. And the best thing about this shade is it's only $3, so it is by far the most affordable shade out of all 10 of these shadows. It's got a very emollient texture to it. It's very, very smooth, and there are tiny little purple flecks throughout this shade. And it is just so, so beautiful for $3. I mean, and so as you can see, you can sheer this one out, but you could also build it up. So I'm adding another layer, and you could get it to be a bit more opaque and just a little bit more punchy. So it's got like a really beautiful aqua base to it, and then a bit of a flash of purple, and then also just tons of flecks throughout it. It is truly such a beautiful dimensional shade. Next up is Kidna, and then this one is from Devinah Cosmetics. And this is just one of those beautiful greenish based multi-chromes with a pink flash to it. It is truly spectacular, and the texture of this is so beautiful. It's got a little bit of flakiness to it, but it's also very emollient and just smooths out so, so beautifully. And the reason I chose this shade, I think, is really because I just miss the greenery during winter, especially living in New England. Just all the trees, all leaves fall off, and then you're just left with a barren sticks essentially. And of course there are trees with the needles, but there's just something about the trees with the leaves. So this one for me is to bring a little bit more green and happiness back into winter. Also, this one is another topper-like shade that you can layer on to get a little bit more opaque, or you can also put on top of a tacky primer to get it to be a bit more opaque in that way as well. Next up is Wonderland Holo from Bella Beaute Bar. Now this one, I know it's another blue shadow. I know what you're thinking. However, this one is holographic, and this one is very, very truly just a baby blue. And this one is more special than the Luxie shade. Of course, it is also more pricey. However, it does have the holo effect. And I find that in general, these shades from Bella Beaute Bar, the holo is so, so evident in these. It's very easy to see them. And I mean, just look at that. It's so magical. It's also giving a little bit of a holiday vibe on top of that because of just how colorful the holographic specs are. But this is such a beautiful standout shade. I think just in general also in 2023. I love this shade so much. And here's what it looks like sheared out. But again, you can layer on a little bit more, get it to be more opaque. But this one is more of a truer baby blue, and it's so smooth and so metallic. And you get that holo surprise. It does slightly shift to a purple, but I think it's more of like an icy bluey purple, if that makes a blurple, if you will. Next up is another holographic eyeshadow. This one is from Touch of Glam Beauty, and this is Sly Holo. And I just feel like this one really gives wintry vibes, kind of like the wintry sunsets, just a lot of flash of gold, a little bit more special, a little bit more celebratory going into the new year. I really feel like gold kind of reflects that especially. Very, very smooth, and it does kind of shift a little bit to a bright green. I think this is just such a beautiful holographic, very smooth, reliable kind of shimmer formula. And then let's swatch it out. A little bit on the sheer side. Again, you can use this as a topper for that PC surprise flash of holo and gold, or you can also layer it on a little bit more or on top of a tacky primer, and you got like a really fun true gold with lots of holo in it. Such a special shade. Next up is Hidden Gem, and this is from ShineBySD. This is relatively new to my collection, and I immediately fell in love with it when I swatched it. It's such a beautiful, smooth formula that has just so much dimensionality to it with the different sparkles. As I mentioned before, ShineBySD does have a drier formula, but that doesn't stop it from being really beautiful and metallic and shiny and sparkly. I mean, look at all these fun flecks throughout it. And here's what it looks like swatched out. Just a really fun yellow. So while the other shade was gold, this one is like a true beautiful yellow, and you can see tons of blue flecks throughout it. And I just felt like this was a really special vibe because it's almost kind of like wintry, but also a little bit of the spring with the yellow. Next up is Flare from Cleona, and this shade I picked because this was meant to represent more of the warmth. So inside your home, it's snowing outside, maybe you have a fireplace or a candle, you've got your warm blankets, you're watching a movie, maybe you're drinking hot cocoa. And this is a glitter multi-chrome, so there's a little bit of texture to it, but there's no glitter in it. It's just got a little bit extra oomph and sparkle to it. And here's what that looks like. It's so magical. It's got a bit of a flash of yellow green, kind of like a lime, with that orange base and then that warm magenta shift to it. Next up is Bellatrix from Terra, and this one is it just spoke to me when I was looking at it. I really felt like this represents something about just that icy blue with the purple shift in it. So while like the Wonderland Holo from Bella Beaute bar is more like a winter wonderland, this one is a little bit like darker, like you feel a little cold, and it's very smooth. It does have a little bit of a lighter base to it, which is I think nice. Again, you can layer this one on to be a bit more opaque. Here's what it looks like swatched out. This is just kind of sheared out, and then here's a second layer to it. It's just got a lot of dimensionality, and then I love the purple and the blue. It's just so much going on, and it's truly a very dimensional shade. Next up is Spire Light from Cleona, and this one I needed a more jeweled kind of shade in here, but I didn't want it to be super dark, so this one has a little bit of brightness to it while it is still a more jeweled kind of color. I really just went for the blues on this one. And this one is super smooth, and it shifts to a purple. So this one is going to give you a kind of darker type of smokier eye look. And just adding on a second layer so you can really get to see how beautiful and shifty and still really vibrant. The ninth shadow is a Butterfly Nebula from Terra. And again, this one is just another take on the fall, the winter vibes without being blue. So I felt like this had a really nice purple flash to it. And this is a chunkier formula, as you can see. It's pretty flaky. You really have to kind of work to smooth it out. But I just love how vibrant and sparkly purple this is. So it's purple pink. I feel like it looks a little bit more purple in the pan maybe. And then it shifts to green. Last up is Radiance from Cleona, and I just had to put in a really beautiful blue iridescent shadow in here. I love iridescent so much, and this formula is so beautiful. It is for sure a bit of a standout for them, and this one just has so much going on for it, and it's beautifully smooth. So it's got a really icy, straight on look, and then it shifts to a beautiful, vibrant indigo. This would also make a great highlighter, especially because it is so smooth, but it's got like a wet look to it. So it's less sparkly and more just smooth. And it actually is looking a little bit green. So it's like green, blue, teal, indigo. I think this would be great paired with some of the other blue shades, especially I think Spire Light. These two together would look amazing. I'm so excited to hear about Riley's choices. I already know which shades she picked. We wanted to make sure we had no crossovers, so that we could give you as many recommendations of shades you might already own, just to take them out for winter, for all the wintry vibes. So I'm really excited to hear why she chose some of the shades. And thank you, Riley, for collaborating with me on another video. I hope that we do lots and lots of collaborations in the future. Don't forget to check out Riley's video. It will be in the description box. Let me know in the comments below which shades you will be wearing from your collection for the winter. I would love to know. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.